Like
it's instinctive.
It just clicks on.
Yeah, it's just a way.
It's this thing of aging. As a kid, you be like, oh, when I grow up, I want to buy my mama a house. I want to do this for my daddy. It's a thing that just naturally comes out. But then when you become this adult, it's almost like Mother Nature. This clock starts to tick inside of you, and you become aware and alert thinking about your parents. Did that happen for you? Like, do you remember when it started to feel like I want to take, like, I got to make sure mama is all right? I don't know if it's different for men or versus women.
I think it is for men, because now that you ask me to pinpoint it, it's harder for me to pinpoint when I didn't think like that.
Mm-hmm. Hello there, and welcome to Fridays with Tab and Chance. I'm Tabitha Brown. This is my husband.
Chance, what's up?
Bring the beat in. Sorry. Got a little tickle in my throat.
All right, hit it again.
Bring the beat in. I can't clear my throat.
Get yourself together. I hear you moving this all around. Whatever you need to do, get it right. Cause you can't. We gotta get this right. I listened to the last show and I did not like them. I didn't like them harmonies.
The last show was Los and Qatar.
Yeah, I didn't like the harmonies.
Dang, Los.
Los was off. Qatar was doing really well.
And I know I was in there.
You and Los. You and Los was a little flat. But I know for next time, I'm just gonna have y'all act like y'all singing, and me and Qatar will hold it down. Hit it for me.
Oh, you got it.
Come
I'm
on.
gonna act like I'm singing, like you said.
Now.
Bring the beat in.
Fridays with Tab and Chance. Fridays with Tab and Chance. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's lonely at the top. You gonna tell them what we gonna do?
And when that sun drop. At nighttime, it's gonna be lonely.
Babe, I told you to get in.
No, you told me to pretend.
No, I said when you because Los, I said you and Los was throwing it off. Cause y'all think y'all was trying to like, I think y'all was trying to like do the same note or something.
Me and Los trying to do the same.
Go back and I told you, babe, your voice was that you was in the wrong key. I kept telling you.
Welcome to Fridays with Tab and Chance. Today we were talking about aging. You know, as we age, how aging changes us. You know, you go from being young and vibrant and, you know, loving to old, nasty, downright disrespectful. You got something you wanted to say?
Oh no, I was waiting on you to. I didn't know who you were talking about. Whoever it is you're talking about.
I mean, some
some
would say it starts at 45. The nasty, disrespectful part. Okay, but what we're talking about is how aging looked to us when we were younger versus how aging looks to us now. Also, does age change, like, does aging change based on where you are, right? Based on where you live. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I say that because a lot of times, well, first and foremost, just recently I had posted old pictures of me and Chance on the school bus from middle school and a picture of myself in like 7th grade. And clearly I've been old my whole life. I've been somebody's auntie since I was 10, and that's a fact. That's a true story. My nephew came when I was 10 years old. But I've been looking like somebody's auntie and acting like somebody's mama and auntie for a very, very long time. However, I look young.
Okay.
I do. I act older sometimes. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I be acting young. But I will say, growing up in the South, what I have noticed is...
Now be careful now. Don't be disrespectful to nobody. And
No, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm saying what I've noticed.
What you noticed?
You must be thinking bad about
No, I'm
something.
just making sure, you know.
No.
Because when you compare the South to...
You ain't even let me... You must have your own thoughts in your head.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead, baby.
What I was going to say, because I don't need nobody to speak for me.
Don't you disrespect my mom. Don't you call my mama old.
First of all, your mama is not old.
No, I'm just saying. Let's go then.
I'm going to just wait because I don't know what you're going through and what you want to say.
Go ahead. Finish.
You got something on your chest. Go on and get it off.
Finish.
You already old in your ways.
Go ahead.
What I was going to say was...
Why you move away?
Because I don't know what's going on with your energy.
Well, go ahead.
What I was going to say was, being from the South, right? We're from North Carolina. There is a difference that you see sometimes with, and I've seen it growing up myself. And I also think maybe times have changed a little bit, but in the South, it felt like when people were in their 30s and 40s, they were like in a rush to feel and be old, right? Like I feel like I even had some of that myself. Like there's a thing that it's like, oh, I'm an adult. Like I gotta adapt older ways and do things older. Again, I do know I have an old spirit. As the old folks used to tell me, I've been here before. But like you would see somebody 50 in the South versus somebody 50 in like New York, or 60 in the South and 60 in New York. It was just a big difference. I would notice even as a child. And as I grew up, I would notice the difference. Or even being here, living in LA, seeing people who are like way more active, out here in their older ages of, working out and running and eating a different way, and they are presenting much younger. I know you've come home before from the gym and be like, man, I was working out with this man today. He said he was 80 years old. And he looked like he was like 55, 60. Mm-hmm. It's so rare for us to see that in the South. And I was just wondering, like, do we think it's a demographic thing? Like sometimes aging, is it different depending on where you are? That's what I was trying to say. I don't know what you was going to say, but what you got to...
I do think it has something to do with demographics, but I think it also has something to do with... I think it's a whole lot of different things. Mm-hmm. You're exposed to more. You got more options, which you can look at as a good thing. You can look at it as a bad thing. What I mean by options, you got more to do. There's more to do in the city as opposed to a lot of times, in places like where we come from. You got more people doing those things. Mm-hmm. So in other words, I think just as humans, we tend to do what the majority are doing. If a lot of people out here are very, very health conscious. Mm-hmm. And there's more options for like vegan foods. It's a lot of moving pieces. But I do
health forward.
Yeah, health
not necessarily
conscious
vegan, but yeah.
Yeah, you got different, even all the way down to just options of where you can go get a healthier lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Not saying that one is better than the other, because on the flip side of that, I think sometimes too much exposure leads you where you may be immature, as opposed to you might come across as youthful in the wrong way. Mm-hmm. Because you just have too much access, so you don't really get grounded in one particular thing. You don't know how to focus on one thing. Where I see the benefit of being in the South and, not having all those options. So I think it just comes down to the person, your lifestyle and those things. But I definitely can see it, sometimes just in appearance. I have been in the gym, like you said. There's one particular man who makes me work out hard. Mm-hmm. And dude, I tell you, I don't know this man's name.
He do commercials or something?
But he on these commercials. he be on like all these like older commercials, and if he out there, y'all gonna know who I'm talking about. It's a brown skinned man. He
about your complexion.
yeah, but he got white. It's like gray hair, nice smile, but he like cut up. But you can tell he's every bit. You can't tell from his physique. If you see him in person, the dude, this is a nice looking man. I'd be like, man, this dude hitting these sets over here. I can squeeze out one more.
Yeah.
But I'm always impressed by him. But I know he's an older man. He in passing, he shared with me. I think he said back then he was like, it was a couple of years ago I came home and said something.
Yeah.
I think he was in his 70s then. And I've been on the golf course. I've been on the golf course here in the last year with a man that was 92 years old.
Yeah, I remember you came home talking about
92 years old. So I've seen some things that 92 don't look the same as what I was accustomed to, like me and Los was just discussing off the camera from growing up back home. Or that 60. We was just talking about our parents. My mom is 62. His mom is 65. And that 62 and 65 it doesn't look the same, and they are in the South, right? Even in the South, it don't look the same. I think just times in general with just the way the world is now. Because how old was Granny when she passed away? 70?
Yeah, she was young. I don't even know if
70? I know she was in her 70s. Because I remember Granddaddy was either 78 or 79.
We can't never really know.
Yeah, but I just know now.
I have to look at their stuff to see.
That Granny and today's 70-year-old Granny looks.
There are some people that still give like, I give the Granny and Granddaddy that we remember, right? But the majority, like my daddy, about to be 73. He don't give 73 that I remember.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
He don't remind me of like my granddaddy and granny growing up. But I wonder, is it because we're grown now?
Are you thinking the lens?
Do we think when we're younger that people look older than what they were? Because when I look back at pictures, right? I remember being a little girl looking at my dad, and he looked so old to me. And I look at his picture now, and I'm like, my daddy was 30. He looked so young. But as a little girl, he looked like he looked older. And I used to think he was old. And he was in his 30s, right?
I've always looked, my mom always looked young and like a little girl to me.
Yeah.
Always.
But
until here recently.
Y'all are only about, 16 years apart, 17 years apart.
Yeah.
So that is, she do look young. And she still look young. And she still is young, too. But even when I would see your mama when I was young, I thought your mama was our age. Like she just always looked young. She does look young. But even my mama, who died at 51, looked older to me when I was younger. I think I'm just wondering if it's because we were so young that our elders looked older and acted older.
That's the thing. They dressed older like I did, right? Because it was what I saw. Yeah. It's how we were taught, right? This is how you go on a job interview. This is how you're supposed to walk about. This is how you just all the way down to how you iron your clothes and everything can contribute to that thinking. Crease down the pant leg. I was doing that because your daddy and all the people before me.
Watch yourself. My daddy's still wearing his creases. Don't you do what's wrong with the crease?
I ain't say nothing was wrong with the crease.
Don't throw it in there and say because you're daddy. Don't do that.
Well, I could say my cousin Haywood. I could say all the men. What the point I was trying to make was all the men from where I was from, or from Lewis Street, and everybody who was around there, you had to have a crease in your pant leg when you walked out the house. Yeah. Everything in your shorts.
I like a nice crease.
So that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. But it was you do what you see, and you're taught certain things that can kind of make you mimic the older generation.
Okay.
Yeah, even all the way down that I know the men out there, Los, everybody can relate to this. When I was growing facial hair, right? How like now you can see the difference in how men groom or trim their facial hair. It makes a difference in how you look. I look back at some of our photos, me holding shorts, and my facial hair, the beard was just the goal was never to put a line on it to trim it. It's to let things look all scraggly.
You was giving Steve Harvey before the lineup.
I'm giving it. I got the Steve Harvey because Steve Harvey was on TV. Steve Harvey was what we was looking at, and it's like, oh yeah. But I'm out here 19 years old with a Steve Harvey mustache. You get what I'm saying? It was like
Mr. Hightower.
Yeah, I'm out here. Hey, that's exactly who it was. Mr. Hightower. I'm out there like, hey, just keep it like that. I want it thick. Now times have changed and you see a little bit, and two, the barbers are a little bit different, gifted.
Stuff has changed. Styles have changed. I get that.
Yeah, it's just so you look older.
But what I'm saying is, what you're talking about is the looks of it, right? The outer appearance. I'm also talking about how we act. And you kind of touched on it in the beginning with, the environment, right? If a lot of people are doing the same thing, you do the same thing kind of thing. But then there's sometimes a select few who go against the grain. They don't, I feel like my daddy is one of them. I see my daddy and I'll see him with people his age and my daddy don't look like them. And I ain't saying that because that's my daddy. I'm saying that because that's a real thing. And people don't be believing that my daddy is 73, right?
I agree, but you got to, I'm speaking on the majority. And I also, when you said that, I thought about, what's the saying they always say? It's like, kind of like, if you look good, you play good in sports. Yeah. So in sports, they be like, if you look good. So if you dressing, so I'm if I look at your daddy as the example of success, which I did for a while, right? If I look at, I'm thinking about all the men that were around. The ones that I looked at is, he's successful, right? And this is how successful people dress. I'm dressing like them. And to a certain extent, I'm starting to move and act like them. I'm starting to talk like them. You remember the dude that worked at APAC? He was real funny. He was younger than us, but he talked like an old man. And that's what everybody, he was about my height, kind of put you in the mind of trail. It was a guy, and he was real funny. He was hilarious. He could have been a comedian. God, what is his name? He always wore, his shirt tucked in. He had the Durango. Somebody out there gonna know who I'm talking about that worked at
Now he had the Durangos. Everybody was wearing them back then.
But no, I had the caramel colored Durangos. Some things was clean with the belt to match. Some things was on point. But this dude was like he was grown. I mean, he looked young, but everything that he did was old. And everything that when I remember a couple of the conversations with, he would always refer to his granddaddy. Yeah. Like Nate. Like Nate, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot like me. I spent a lot of time with my great-granddaddy and my grandparents growing up, which I feel like I am with my daddy, but I picked up behavior of like storytelling and old sayings. It's just in my nature from growing up that way, which also was why, like, you look at my pictures when I was younger, I was wearing like dress suits to school because my mama wore them. I was like, I want to wear that too. So what you're saying is true. Yeah. I always had on earrings, the ones that my grandma knew was wearing to church and stuff, But I do think that sometimes, if life is slower, we are a little bit slower in things. Yeah. Which kind of makes us feel older sometimes. Do that make sense?
It makes complete sense.
And when the world is fast, a lot is happening. I think that makes people keep up. But when things are real slow, it's like you ain't got nothing to keep up to, and it slows you down too.
What you rushing for?
Right, which is good sometimes, but then I think sometimes we can kind of get stuck in a slowness where we don't pick ourselves up when we need to, if that makes sense. That being said, when we've all experienced this, I've unfortunately experienced it very early with my mama, when aging starts to happen as we begin to age, but our parents age, and the roles start to change as we age, right? And I had to do that at an earlier age with my mama when she got sick. Then it became like, now this is my, not necessarily my child, but my responsibility. This is my mama. I want to make sure me and my sister take good care of her. And it's so crazy how you go from, this is your person that you go to for everything. This is the person that you trust, who has the answer, who, if I fall and hurt myself, she's going to make it feel better. Any little thing I can call, I don't know what to do, let me call mama. To now that role is being changed to I am the person, or my sister was the person that was called because, she was sick and having to take them to doctor's appointments, giving her a bath, feeding her, dressing her, doing her hair, all the things she had to do for me and my sister as a child. We did it for her when she got sick graciously. Like I would do it 10,000 more times. But there is a weird feeling that happens. Like there's a shift that starts to change. And I mean, for me, I had to do that in my 20s. And I think it grew me up even more. I was already an old spirit, and then it just made me even more, I think, grounded in maturity, because I was also a young mom. Mm-hmm. But it just made me have so much respect for elders, even though my mama wasn't necessarily an elder because she was so young. She was close to our age when she got sick. And so how does that, as your mama is aging, and like my daddy, I do things for my daddy, but my daddy still work. He still go to, barbershop. He loved working. He still drive. Like he's a young, about to be 73 years old in September. And he loved to tell people he's 73, right? But there's still this thing in me already to be like, I gotta make sure my daddy all right. It just happens, like
it's instinctive.
It just clicks on.
Yeah, it's just a way.
It's this thing of aging. As a kid, you'd be like, oh, when I grow up, I want to buy my mama a house. I want to do this for my daddy. It's a thing that just naturally comes out. But then when you become this adult, it's almost like Mother Nature. This clock starts to tick inside of you, and you become aware and alert thinking about your parents. Did that happen for you? Like, do you remember when it started to feel like I want to take, like, I got to make sure mama is all right? Like, if there's a thing that just starts to happen. I don't know if it's different for men or versus women.
I think it is for men, because now that you ask me to pinpoint it, it's harder for me to pinpoint when I didn't think like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember, and I think it may be different for other men, but because of how my mom and our dynamic was, mm-hmm. I can remember all the way back to a maybe 4th, 5th grade, walking in the dark. We were walking to my aunt's house. We was walking from Lewis Street up to Douglas. Right?
Oh, not far at all, okay.
The people who live in Eden, they'll mm-hmm. know that. My aunt used to live across the street from Douglas. And I forget for what reason, but it was dark. And I just remember the thinking of, and I can't remember anybody telling me to take care of my mom. No men or nobody saying, you gotta take care of your mom. I just think instinctively, I'm 10, 11 years old. I remember walking ahead, like as her protector, and her yelling for me to stay beside her. But in my head, I'm like,
I'm looking out.
Nah, I'm gonna take care of my mom, mm-hmm. right? I think young men, and I don't know. I just feel like the majority of men I know, we just wired that way. Mm-hmm. Now that I think about it, we just wired that way. And even when in high school, I'm doing things to prevent myself from being a, what would I call it? A liability? Mm-hmm. Trying to look out for mom, right? Doing things. I'm leaving the house. I'm trying to get out and find my way, and it's not all. It was not. And initially, it was like, okay, I want I want to make sure I'm not a burden on my mom to protect her in that way. But in this chapter of my life, I mean, and it's always been that way.
That started when you was in high school.
Yeah, that started when that thinking of just taking care of my mom has always been there. I can't remember a time that it hasn't. I'm even thinking back to younger times up on Price Road, you know, with my great grandmama, you know, and uncles in there and arguments and me like, hey, thinking I could beat one of them. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna mess with my mama, but you get what I'm saying? Like, I think it's just in there, but to be the protector, and then somewhere along in 20s and 30s, it changed from, or it, in addition to protector, became provider in a sense. It's my obligation. I have to be able to be there. And then I think with witnessing your mom's situation and how you took care of your mom, it kind of opened up a different view or perspective on life and how short it can be. And me trying to question her about her health, and that's been an uphill battle. With she probably put that soda down, Ma. She probably somewhere drinking something she ain't got no business right now.
And eating something.
Won't
I know you're not eating a cheesesteak hoagie.
You better.
I know you're not eating that.
Yeah. Put that salt shaker down. Like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, here, you know, thank God that he kept her. She's 62. But now, and it was difficult, you know, because it would be times where you knew, like, we weren't in a position to take care of nobody.
Right.
We were
barely
to take care of ourselves.
Us. Yeah.
But wherever I could, I would. And today is more or less where I can help her more. The things that I want to help her with, she don't want to listen, you know.
Yeah.
I said to my mom, I said, Mom, why don't you get you a gym membership? She told me, she said, Ding, I got a lot of free time. I got a lot of free time.
This her right here.
And I said,
Gym.
I said, Ma, don't they got a new Planet Fitness downtown? Why don't you go get you a membership? Go, you know, find, or she's like, I said,
her and my sister.
And she talking about all that sweating. People up in there sweating. I said, Ma, that's how you know. But then on the other note, you'll see her, and she in places and doing things.
That's what I was about to say. She is 62, but out and about, like, she 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's convenient.
Yeah.
When
some
I start
days
pressing,
she's 62, some days she's 42.
No, some days she's 92. When I pressure her to do something,
dang,
like, I don't want
leave me alone, son.
I ain't going no gym. All them people sweating. I'm too old for that. My body gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm 62. I'm like, and I tell her, Ma, this ain't about your body. This ain't about your exterior body. This about your internal body, your heart and stuff like that. And she'll just change the subject.
I ain't gonna let them talk about you, dang.
It's the truth, ain't it? So that can be a little difficult in this process.
Because then it becomes us parenting our parents.
Parenting,
right?
Parent.
It's like it's the same. Like I talk to my daddy about stuff, and I'd be like, Daddy, you know, well, what you eating? You know, if certain things is happening, cholesterol or anything, I ask him, oh, how your doctor's appointment go? Or, you know, it's just different things where now we carry a different concern for our parents, almost like children. Although they're not children, they still are parents. But we have to think about they have more years behind them than ahead of them. And so it does become a new responsibility that we just automatically take on.
Yeah.
Right, like, because we want to, but it's a natural thing that just...
It should live inside of you.
It lives inside of you. I feel like if you were raised right, with love and compassion, you had great parents, there's a natural thing inside of you that wants to do the full circle of life and come, you know, that's how it is. When the time comes, we're supposed to want to take care of our parents. We're supposed to want to make sure they're okay. But aging I think brings that out of us. Like, I mean, I know you said it started for you young, which for me it did too, because I think even with my grand and my granddad, like, you know, on my mama's side, I had them when I was younger, and I spent a lot of time with them, and just wanting to make sure that they were okay. Even as a little girl, like, I want to help you, granddaddy. Let me help you. Like, that's why I've been working since I was 6, okay? If my granddad said, you want to help? Come on down into the church and put these trash bags in the trash cans and dust them ashtrays out. Why did they have ashtrays at the church?
Because they were smoking. That was a lot of news to take in sitting there.
I just thought about that.
Hey, church back then was stressful, wasn't it?
My granddad used to clean up different churches. And I remember there.
Hey, hold up, man. You just... Hey, that was tough one right there. Let me...
The ashtrays were where the baskets
Hey, you talking about me, dog. You talking about me.
Where the baskets, and you know, where you take up the offering and the communion, like all of that was in the same place. And there was a little office, and I used to have to empty the little trash. I just thought about that. Well, it wasn't our church. It was a church my granddaddy used to clean up.
But hey, listen.
It was happening.
They was going through some stuff.
Yeah, and at the post office, at the Veneer Graphics, all the offices.
Listen, they was going through some stuff.
Yeah, times was different.
Yeah, times was different.
But you also used to be able to smoke inside of your office, at your desk.
Times was different.
You know, you also used to be able to smoke on airplanes.
You used to smoke in school.
Yeah, my mom and them said they had a smoking area.
Yeah. They used to smoke in school. Yeah. Smoking was a trend. It was the thing to do.
That's why aging has changed.
Yep, aging things, and that's another reason why. You know,
yeah.
Everything, you know, as we grow, we evolve.
Yeah.
You know
I mean, there's so many things that have changed in our lifetime.
Probably the biggest thing to keep in mind or to take note of is good balance.
Yeah.
It ain't one particular thing that can make you stay young or get old, wise, or mature. It's just trying to find a good balance of it. Because I really do look at LA sometimes and be like, I don't want this for my son. I don't want this. I need to slow him down a little bit, right? But then it'd be times where we go home and I'm like, I don't want this for my son. This is too slow for him. And it's my job to find a good medium.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard to, you know, it's hard, you know. Ain't nobody got no book on it or no blueprint on how you can do it. You just got to be active and trying to do it, right?
I do think, you know, to kind of sum it up, when it comes to aging, we are as old as we feel, and how we present ourselves, right? Whatever makes us feel well and happy. You know, I used to hear, you know, I got a lot of friends who are in the industry of entertainment, and they lie about their age because they want to make sure they can still book roles and things. And that never sat well with me.
It me either.
It never sat well
lying about your
with me.
age has always, I've always...
It be blowing me away.
Yeah, like, what you lying about?
But I understand it because it is true. A lot of people won't hire you if they know your real age. It is a fact.
But hold on. Let's just let me. I know you're going somewhere with that. But
yeah.
Is there more roles or opportunities for younger people as opposed to older people? Because I see just as many. Morgan Freeman been working forever.
Right.
Samuel L. Jackson, they ain't playing young people. They playing people.
Right.
It ain't just one kind of people in movies. There's a place for old people, short people,
absolutely.
Tall people. Is people.
But if you're not ready for that for your career, right? If it's just like what's her name?
I would have been the first one to try to get there, because if everybody else saying I'm 30,
yeah,
I'd be like, no, I'm the 45-year-old.
But you still got real people out here as well. There's a lot of actors, but the thing is, you can get placed in stuck in a place, right? Like me. Now I don't cover my accent. I used to always try to play like the aunt or the leading lady or whatever. Honey, now people gonna definitely cast me as auntie, mama. You know, I can still play sister, stuff like that.
Real.
But I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not no little young girl in college. Like, that's just not my thing, right? But prior to, in my 30s, I still was playing girl in college.
Yeah, I
still could do that.
I got you. I get it.
Some people, they just want to still have a certain look that they want to play. They ain't ready to play to somebody, grandma and auntie and all that.
They don't want no
Hire
money.
me. I'm available. Okay, I will. If the script is good. Because I stay focused. You made me forget what I was going to say. You cut me off, and now I can't remember what I was going to say something good.
You said something good right there.
No, I was getting ready to go into something. So I was saying, you're only as old as you feel, because we're talking about aging and how that has changed. I do think that we should never be in a rush to get old, but be happy that you're aging, if that makes sense. I always think about Miriam. Miss Miriam, that was an older lady. I'm sure she's passed now. When I worked at assisted living home, and she was celebrating her 96th birthday. She had outlived her children and her husband, and so she was alone in this home. And I jokingly said to her, "Oh, girl, you 40 today or 30 today?" It's something very young. She said, "No, I'm 96. I want all my years." She said, "Because if I didn't get old, that means I died young." And I just remember that, and it has stuck with me and stayed with me. She was aging, yet she still wasn't necessarily old here. She understood, like, I've been here a long time, but she was very much so present. She moved slower, of course, because technically in age, you are old. But I say, you can age, but you don't have to be in a rush to be old. Live life, have some fun, do something different. Even as we age, do some things that you may used to love to do as a child.
Do you ever, you said something, going Tiff, you know what happens to me? I feel young.
Yeah.
But you know what's scary is when something reminds you that you're not. This is what I mean.
Not as young as you were.
No, not as young as I feel.
Oh.
Like
I know.
In my head, so a lot of people may laugh at this, but I know somebody can relate. I still feel like I'm 18 years old, body-wise, right? I'll feel like, and think to myself like, and it's for the majority, right? But then I just be simply coming down the steps and wonder why my ankle is hurting. And it really scares me. And I'm like, I ain't played no ball. All I did was walk down the dang on steps.
Yeah.
Why is my ankle hurting?
Yeah.
I know somebody can relate to that. But it's really scary because for the young people out there, we're not lying about how we really feel. Like we feel.
Yeah. There are days I be like, I felt like this at 25.
No, babe. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm in there working out today.
Actually, I can't even put an age on it. I'll just be like, I still feel the same.
Nah.
That I felt, whether it's 18, it doesn't until something starts to affect me.
I got moments in my life where I was like, I remember being wild. And I feel like a lot of people probably can relate to this, where you feel wild by the things that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And that was 18. From
19.
No. From 20. I'm serious. No, I'm from 20. From 20 to about 26, I was not in the best health. Not in my best stages, because that's when me and you was entering into the working world, and Choice was born, and things of that nature, right? But it wasn't no gym and things like that.
Oh,
so I'm talking about, like, I remember I make joke at the gym when I was playing that, hey, I'm tapping into 17 on y'all. I'm about to go crazy on y'all. I'll joke with Quest about that, because I remember 17 and the pursuit to playing ball and how my body felt. 27 till 33. I remember those moments. That's when I was working out heavy with Jay and was introduced into my brain had been changed. The healthiest moments in my life. And from that point, I've been maintaining something, a certain level of working out. So these days, when I feel anything, 90% of the times, I feel like those days.
Yeah.
And what's scary is when you're reminded, like I said off camera before this, is like, okay, such and such just had a heart attack at 40.
Yeah.
Hey, I just rolled out the bed and walked to the bathroom to pee. My ankle hurt. And you saying, babe's walking on the hardwood floors. The hardwood floor made my foot work. Or
it'll make my lower back start if I walk too long on the hardwood floor barefoot.
Or simply, how many times am I gonna pee?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's a humbling thing and an enlightening thing, but it's also a scary thing when you come to terms with it. You can, in your head, you feel like one thing, but your body has its way of telling you, hey, you need to listen to me. You need to, you are 45, dog. You are 45. So listen to it. I wanted to say that because it also puts it gives you a different grace when it comes to dealing with mama. Mm-hmm. Right, I can get frustrated with her. But also I'm like, Dad, you've been through this already. You know what I mean?
And
like,
more.
More. You've been through this, so it's humbling at the same time where you're like, man, I was in a different mind frame or had little patience for you when you was going through this, and I had no idea what you was going through.
In your greatest moments, that 27 to 33, you said,
mm-hmm.
Your mama was in her toughest moments of menopause.
Yep, menopause.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I will say that 27 to 33.
That's what Quest came.
Hey, you was out here. Hey, we was out here. At 45, you be still feeling like it.
Mm-hmm.
Until you don't.
Until I don't. And then I won't. I said what I said.
And you can't.
Hey, girl.
Because we ain't finna do it. Okay? We ain't finna do it.
Yeah, you sit down somewhere.
It be feeling like it though, babe.
Yeah, in your head.
I'm telling you, the aging is a real thing because you really be feeling.
Yeah.
Now, don't get us wrong. 45 ain't old.
I said all that too.
You're just aging. You're not 25.
Yeah, for the young people who do watch.
Yeah.
Be just understand, like
your body do change.
Your parents tapping in and out too, and they feel how they feel, right? And and sometimes they ain't got a way to articulate it. So I'm trying my best to be transparent and articulate what your parents might be going through or how they viewing things. I really don't feel old. I don't.
Because you're not.
And I don't think that 45 is old. But
right.
I don't know. I just feel like we need to say
But also I think to the younger people or people that are our age, when you're looking at aging parents, and you're wishing that they would do things differently because sometimes that's, in your mind, you're like, I just want you to eat different, or I want you to work out, or I want you to, get out and do some things, whatever the case may be. Also remember, whatever those years in between y'all are, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea of those years to come for you, if God willing, right? We don't know what we don't know. It's just like you didn't know back then about menopause, but now you got a whole wife that's going through, and you got to be in it with me, right? So the grace that you may not have given your mom back then because of not understanding, I'll take that grace now. Thank you. And then you can, give your mama grace and other things. But yeah, I think it's a real thing. Aging is a real thing, whether you in the north, south, east, or west, whether you going slow or whether you going fast. Just go at your own pace, but live life the best way that we can. Try your best to be as healthy as you can. Try to pour into yourself, eat well, to feel well. And yeah, that's really it.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
And y'all, I know parents can be a little tough sometimes, but give them grace.
Mm-hmm.
And parents, baby, bees on these children out here, honey. We doing the best that we can, honey. We doing the best we can.
Stop cussing and fussing when somebody tell you to do something.
And put that soda down.
Put that soda down.
All right. Anything else, babe?
Nah, that's it.
Okay. I hope everybody felt a little something from this today. And you'll be reminded as you walk out into the world how you treat yourself in whatever age you may be. Remember, you're only as old as you feel. Okay? Some days you might feel real old. Let that pass you on by and get into the young spirit of yourself. Okay? Very good. Until the next time, honey, y'all go about y'all business and have the most amazing day. But even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's here. Very good. We love you. See you later. Thank you for watching this episode, honey. And if you liked it, go ahead and click right here for more of those episodes.
And if you haven't already subscribed, please remember to do so.
Very good.